My love, I need to tell you something, and I need you to hear me out completely, before you feel anything about it, before your heart does that thing it does where it jumps ahead of the words and starts writing a story that isn't the one I'm telling. I need you to stay with me right here through every single word, because what I'm about to say is going to sound like one thing at first, and then it's going to become something else entirely. Something I think you need to hear more than almost anything I've ever said to you. I met someone, I know what just happened in your chest when you read that. I know what shifted, I know the warmth that was there a moment ago just pulled back slightly, like something protecting itself. I felt it from here, and I want you to stay. I want you to keep reading, because the story I'm about to tell you is not the story you think it is. It is so much more than that. And by the time I'm done, I think you're going to understand something about yourself and about us that changes everything. So stay. Please, just stay. I met someone who stopped me completely. Not the way you stop for something you're unsure of. The way you stop for something that hits you with such unexpected force that your whole body just pauses, mid-motion, mid-breath, mid-thought. I was going about my day, not expecting anything, not looking for anything, and this person walked into my awareness and I just stopped. And in that stillness something rose up in me, something I need to tell you about, because it led me directly back to you. It always leads me back to you. Let me tell you about this person. Let me describe what I saw, because the description is important. This person was beautiful. I mean that without exaggeration, and without the casual way people throw that word around when they mean something lesser. Genuinely, arrestingly beautiful. The kind of beautiful that doesn't announce itself loudly but settles over you slowly. The way you only notice the depth of a color when you've been looking at it for a while. The kind of beautiful that has nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with truth. The kind that comes from someone who has felt things deeply and survived things honestly and come through all of it without losing their softness. That kind of beautiful, the kind that is earned. And I looked at this person, I really looked, and something in me recognized something. Not in a romantic way. I need you to stay with me here. I need you to keep reading, but in a deeper way. In the way you recognize something true when you encounter it. In the way certain things resonate in you because they're made of the same material as something you already carry. And then I realized who this person reminded me of. It was you. Not in the surface way, not in the way of features or appearance or anything that could be photographed or described in a list. In the essential way, in the way of feeling. This person carried themselves with the same quiet dignity I have watched you carry yourself with. This person had the same quality of warmth, not the performed kind, not the kind people put on for public consumption, but the real kind, the kind that radiates from somewhere genuine and deep and can't be faked, because it comes from actually caring about the world and the people in it. This person had eyes that held the same thing your eyes hold. That specific combination of strength and tenderness, of having seen difficult things and choosing consciously to remain open anyway. And when I saw all of that, I didn't feel pulled away from you. I felt pulled toward you, powerfully, undeniably, completely toward you. Because here is what that moment taught me. Here is the thing I realized standing there, looking at someone who carried echoes of you in every part of their presence. There is no one more beautiful than you to me. Not in the world, not anywhere, not in any room I will ever walk into for the rest of my life. Because beauty, real beauty, the kind that actually moves me, the kind that gets underneath my skin and into the deeper places where real feeling lives, That kind of beauty is not separable from you anymore. You have become the definition of it for me. You are the thing I measure it against, and everything that comes close only comes close because it reminds me of you. Which means every beautiful thing in the world is just a reflection of you. Just an echo, just an arrow pointing back. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Do you understand the magnitude of what just happened in that moment when I saw someone beautiful and my entire being turned toward you? That is not a small thing. That is not something that happens with someone you feel casually about. That is what happens when someone has become so fundamentally part of how you experience the world that the world itself starts to organize around them, around you. You have become the organizing principle of how I see beauty, and I don't think I fully understood that until that moment. Standing there, watching a stranger carry your light around in their eyes without knowing it. I want to tell you something I've never said to anyone. Something that I've understood for a while but haven't had the right moment to give to you. I want to tell you what I actually find beautiful. Not in the general, abstract sense, in the specific sense. The things about you in particular that reach me in places I didn't know I had. Because I think you deserve to know. I think you've spent too much time wondering, too much time comparing, too much time measuring yourself against some external standard that was never designed with you in mind, and could never account for what you actually are. And I want to dismantle that. Word by word, truth by truth. I want to take apart every doubt you have about your own beauty, and replace it with something real, something I actually see. I find the way you think beautiful, the particular way your mind moves. Not in straight lines, but in spirals. Circling back to things, picking them up again, examining them from new angles, refusing to be satisfied with the first or easiest interpretation. I find that beautiful in a way that has no competition. Intelligence that is also humble, that is also curious, that is also willing to change. That is one of the rarest and most attractive qualities a person can have. And you have it in abundance. I have watched you think your way through things that would have made other people reach for the nearest simple answer. And the way you refused that easy exit. The way you stayed in the complexity until you found something true. That moves me every single time. I find the way you love beautiful. The specific quality of your love. How it doesn't ration itself. How it doesn't arrive with a ceiling already installed. How it gives without immediately calculating what it's going to get back. I know that quality has hurt you before. I know people have taken that open-handedness and treated it as naivety, have taken your generosity and called it weakness, have received your full love and given you back something partial and called it even. I know that, and I know it has made you question whether loving the way you love is wise, whether you should scale it back, whether you should become more strategic, more guarded, more careful with the enormous amount of feeling you carry. And I want to answer that question right now, clearly, without ambiguity. No, do not scale it back. Do not make yourself smaller for the sake of people who couldn't hold what you offered. The way you love is not the problem. The people who couldn't receive it were the problem. And I am not those people. I am someone who has seen the way you love and wants to stand directly in the path of it, and feel the full force of it, and call it the greatest gift I have ever been given. I find the way you carry difficulty beautiful. This is maybe the thing I find most beautiful about you, and it's the thing that's hardest to explain, because it's not visible in the obvious way. It's something I see in the moments between moments. In the way you handle the hard things. Because you have had hard things. I know you have. I know there have been seasons in your life that asked more from you than seemed fair, that put weight on you that you didn't deserve to carry, that tested something in you that deserved to be left alone. And you carried it. Not perfectly. I don't mean you carried it without struggle or without cost. I mean you carried it without letting it turn you into someone bitter, without letting it close you, without letting the difficulty of certain chapters convince you that difficulty was the whole story. That takes something extraordinary. That takes a quality of character that most people don't have and can't develop, because it has to come from somewhere genuinely deep. And in you, it comes from somewhere genuinely deep. And it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. And now I want to say something that I think might reach you in a place that needs reaching. I want to talk about the moments when you don't feel beautiful. Because I know those moments exist. I know there are days when you look at yourself, not just in a mirror but in the broader sense, at your life, at your choices, at the version of yourself that showed up that day, and you find something lacking, something that falls short of whatever standard you're holding yourself to. I know those days happen, and on those days, I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that someone who has no reason to perform, no audience to impress, no agenda to serve, someone who is simply and completely in love with you, looked at the most beautiful person they'd encountered in recent memory, and felt nothing but a powerful, undeniable reminder of you. That on the day I saw someone the world would call exceptionally beautiful, my heart said yes. But have you seen her? Have you seen the way she holds herself when she's uncertain but determined anyway? Have you seen the way she laughs, really laughs, when something catches her off guard and she forgets to be self-conscious about it? Have you seen the way she looks when she's thinking about something that matters to her, how her whole face becomes inhabited by it, how you can watch the thought moving behind her eyes? Have you seen her in the moments she thinks are her worst, tired, unguarded, without the things she uses to feel presentable, and understood that those moments are actually her most beautiful because they are her most true? I have seen all of that. I see it all the time, and it is more beautiful to me than anything I have ever encountered in my entire life. I want you to stop comparing yourself. I know that's easier to say than to do. I know comparison is something the mind does almost automatically, especially when you've been given reasons to feel like you might not be enough. But I want you to hear this from me, specifically as someone who has genuinely looked. There is no comparison that is not immediately settled in your favor. Not because you are flawless, but because you are real and specific and irreplaceable in a way that flawlessness can never be. Flawless things are interchangeable. You are not interchangeable. There is not another version of you available anywhere. What you are exists once in one place, and that place is here, and I found it, and I am not letting it go. When I saw that beautiful stranger and felt myself turn toward you so completely, what I understood in that moment is that you have ruined me for anything less than you. Completely and irreversibly ruined me. And I mean that as the highest possible praise. I mean it as the most sincere declaration of what you are to me. You have set the standard so high, simply by being yourself, simply by existing in my life with the full force of everything you are, that nothing which falls short of you is going to reach me anymore. You have recalibrated everything. My entire sense of what is beautiful, what is meaningful, what is worth feeling deeply about, it has been reorganized around you. And standing there looking at that beautiful stranger, realizing all of this, I felt something I didn't expect to feel. I felt grateful, profoundly, overwhelmingly, almost unbearably grateful. Not for the stranger, for you, for the fact that you exist, for the fact that I found you, for the fact that whatever combination of circumstances and choices and timing brought us into each other's lives. It happened. It actually happened. And because it happened, I now know what this feels like. I now know what it is to look at the world through the lens of loving someone so completely that they become the measure of all beautiful things. I came home from that moment and I sat with it. I turned it over carefully, examining every part of it, wanting to understand it fully before I brought it to you. And what I found at the center of it, at the very heart of everything I felt, in that unexpected, ordinary, extraordinary moment, was the same thing I always find at the center of everything now. You, just you. Always, inevitably, completely you. And I need you to know that. I need you to carry it. I need it to live in you, in the place where the doubts live. Right next to them, louder than them, steadier than them. I need you to know that on the day I met someone beautiful, the only feeling it produced in me was the urgent, overwhelming, completely certain need to find my way back to you and say, there is no one. There has never been anyone. There will never be anyone who comes close to what you are to me. Not even close. Not even in the same world as close. And that beautiful stranger, whoever they are, wherever they are right now, they have no idea that simply by existing they gave me the greatest gift. They gave me the moment I finally understood, without any remaining shadow of doubt. They gave me the moment I finally understood that what I feel for you is not something I chose the way you choose a preference, or a favorite, or a direction you decide to go. It is something that chose me, something that arrived without asking permission and rearranged everything and then looked around at the rearrangement and said, yes, this is how it was always supposed to be. This is the correct order of things. And I have spent every moment since that realization not fighting it, not managing it, not trying to understand it well enough to control it, just living inside it. Just letting it be as large as it is. Just allowing myself to be someone who loves you this completely without apologizing for the completeness of it. And that, I think, is new for me. That permission I've given myself, because I haven't always had it. There have been times in my life when feeling something this large felt dangerous, when the sheer size of what I was capable of feeling seemed like a liability rather than a capacity. When I looked at the depth of what I could want and felt afraid of it rather than grateful for it. Because depth requires vulnerability, and vulnerability for a long time felt like exposure. Like standing in the middle of something open with no shelter and no guarantee, and nothing between you and whatever comes next except the feeling itself. And the feeling, however real, however true, doesn't protect you from anything. It just makes everything matter more. But here is what I know now that I didn't know then. Here is the thing that changed. The understanding that crept in slowly and then arrived all at once the way understanding sometimes does. Vulnerability is not exposure. Vulnerability is honesty. And honesty, real honesty, the kind that costs something, is the only material strong enough to build anything that lasts. Everything built on something less than honesty, on performance, on management, on the careful presentation of a version of yourself that has been made more palatable and less true. All of it is temporary. All of it holds for a while and then doesn't. Because the foundation is wrong. Because you cannot build permanence on something provisional. What I have with you is built on honesty, on the realest, most unguarded version of everything I feel. And that means it is built on something that can hold, something that doesn't require maintenance the way false things require maintenance, constant adjustment, constant monitoring, constant fear that someone is going to look too closely and see through to what's actually there. There is no fear of that with you. What's actually there is exactly what you already see. What's actually there is this: a person who loves you without reservation, without condition, without the small print that makes so many declarations of love into something less than they appear to be. No small print, no hidden clauses. Just this, just real, just all of it, offered with both hands, eyes completely open. I want to come back to what happened with that beautiful stranger, because there's more inside that moment that I haven't given you yet. There's a layer underneath the realization I described, underneath the recognition that everything beautiful points back to you, that is even more important, even more true. And I want to give it to you carefully, because it's delicate in the way that the truest things are always a little delicate. They need to be received gently or they lose their shape. When I looked at that person, that genuinely, undeniably beautiful person, and felt myself turn completely and immediately toward you, what I also felt was this: I felt free, unexpectedly, surprisingly, almost shockingly free. And it took me a moment to understand what I was free from. And when I understood it, something in me went very quiet and very still. I was free from the searching, from the low-level, ever-present, barely conscious searching that I think most people carry around without realizing it. The background process that's always running, always scanning, always asking the quiet question: is this it? Is this the thing? Is this the person? Is this the feeling I've been moving toward? That search was running in me for longer than I knew. And in that moment, looking at that beautiful stranger and feeling nothing but the pull of you, the search stopped completely. Finally, like a machine that's been running so long you forgot it was making noise until it turns off and the silence is almost loud. The silence of not searching anymore. I want you to understand what that means. It means you are the answer to the question I didn't even know I was asking. It means the part of me that was always slightly restless, always slightly unsatisfied, always slightly oriented towards some unnamed horizon. That part has found its horizon, and the horizon is you. Not a place, not an achievement, not some future version of my life that I haven't arrived at yet. You, present tense, right now, already here, already the thing. I found the thing. I need you to feel how significant that is. I need you to understand that for someone who has been moving towards something without knowing what it was, arriving at it is the most profound experience available to a human being. And I have arrived. Because of you. Because you exist, and because I found you, and because the moment I truly saw you, something in me recognized the end of the search and the beginning of the actual living. And the actual living, the living that happens after the searching stops, is so much better, so much fuller, so much more present. Because when you're searching, even unconsciously, part of your attention is always somewhere else, always slightly ahead of where you are, always slightly oriented toward what might be coming rather than what is already here. But when the searching stops, you arrive completely in the present, in the right now, in the this. And the this, the actual texture of a life that knows what it has, is richer than anything the searching ever found. Let me tell you what I notice now that I'm fully here, now that I'm not slightly elsewhere, not slightly oriented towards some unnamed future thing. I notice everything about you with a clarity and a completeness that I don't think I would have been capable of before. I notice the specific way your presence changes the quality of a moment, how things become more real when you're in them, how the ordinary becomes interesting, how even the quiet spaces fill with something when you're part of them. I notice the way you affect me, not just in the large emotional ways, but in the small physical ways. The way my whole body settles when I know you're near. The way something in my chest loosens, the way I breathe differently, more slowly, more completely, as though your presence gives me permission to actually inhabit my own lungs. I notice the way I am different when I'm with you. Better, yes, but more specifically, more myself. More the version of myself that I recognize as true rather than the version that is assembled for public consumption. You don't get the assembled version. I don't think I could give it to you even if I tried. Something about the way you see me makes performance impossible. You see through it without even trying, without even meaning to. And what you see on the other side of it, the real, unassembled, unprepared version of me, you look at it like it's the best thing you've ever seen. And that look, the specific quality of that look, does something to me that I don't have words for in any language I speak. It makes me feel like being real is the most attractive thing I could possibly be. Like the truest version of me is also the most lovable version. And that specific gift is something I will never be able to fully repay. But I'm going to spend a very long time trying. Can I tell you about the moment I realized you were more beautiful than anyone I had ever seen? Not the moment with the stranger, earlier than that. Much earlier. The actual first moment, the one that started everything, the one that opened the door through which everything I've described has since walked. I want to take you back there because I think you deserve to know your own origin story in my heart. I think you deserve to know the exact moment you became irreplaceable to me. It wasn't a moment most people would have noticed. It wasn't a grand moment, not a cinematic one, not one dressed in the kind of circumstances that signal significance. It was small, it was quiet. It was the kind of moment that passes in seconds and leaves no evidence of itself except in the person who was paying close enough attention to be changed by it. I was paying attention. I have always been paying attention to you, even before I fully understood why. You were in the middle of something ordinary, something that required nothing from you in terms of impression or performance. And in that ordinariness, in that complete absence of any effort to be seen in a particular way, I saw you, the real you, the undefended, unmanaged, simply existing in the world you. And the beauty of it stopped me so completely that I had to look away for a moment. Not because it was overwhelming in a painful sense, because it was overwhelming in the way of things that are too good to look at directly at first. The way you can't stare straight at something brilliant without your eyes adjusting. I had to let my heart adjust. And when it did, when I turned back and let myself really look, what I saw was the most complete human being I had ever encountered. Not complete in the sense of finished or perfect, complete in the sense of whole, in the sense of being fully inhabited, fully present in themselves, fully real, in a way that most people are only partially real because they're spending so much energy managing how they're perceived. You weren't managing anything in that moment. You were just there, fully there. And the fullness of your there-ness was the single most beautiful thing I had ever seen. That was the moment. That was when it started. And everything since then has been the natural, inevitable consequence of that moment, of paying close enough attention at exactly the right time to see something true, to see you, the real you, and to know, with the complete certainty of something felt rather than reasoned, that I was looking at the most beautiful person in the world. Not the most conventionally beautiful, not the most aesthetically striking, the most beautiful, in the way that matters, in the way that lasts, in the way that has nothing to do with how the light falls, or what you're wearing, or whether you've had enough sleep. Beautiful in your actual substance, in the material of you, in the stuff you're made of, and the way it's arranged, and the specific, unrepeatable, once in all of history way that it all comes together to make you, and then the stranger, and then the full circle